Hey guys, Charlie Pankey here, Scenic Magazine. Stopping in today. We got back from a great adventure to Snow Lake this week, and after several questions on social media about where Snow Lake was and Azure Lake trip, I thought I'd just do this little video presentation so we can have it on file here, and hope you enjoy it. It's a little slideshow here built on Canvas, my first time, so hopefully this goes well. But if you've never been to Snow Lake, or if you're going to Lake Tahoe and you're looking for a backcountry experience, it's a little unique. Snow Lake and Lake Azure or Azure Lake are two lakes that don't have an official trail ahead. They're located near the Bayview trailhead, which is near Emerald Bank. In this image here, you can see we're actually above Cascade Creek and Cascade Falls, looking back over Cascade Lake and Lake Tahoe. After you get to Cascade Falls, the trail disappears, and from that point on, it's just a off-trail excursion. So map skills are needed. You need to kind of look at a map and know where it's at. One of the things that to note up here is this is a great place. Like Cascade Creek right above the falls is a great place to watch the sunrise. So we're up here about 7 a.m. On a Saturday morning. Sun's up a little bit already being seen. It's just a great place to catch sunrise. We caught a few people who were out there early and beat us out there, heading on back on this weekend. So it's a great location to go anytime to see the fall and spring. As you climb up the valley, the views get bigger. Obviously, we're getting a little higher up on stage here. And actually, just after this picture here, we came around this rock and ran into one of the biggest bears I've ever seen in the wild. Stood up out of the bushes, kind of freaked me out for a moment, just because I wasn't prepared for it. I was just kind of having a great morning hiking back to these lakes. Been back here before. Know it's bear country. But he was big. He stood up on two legs. I'm 6'3", and it was taller than me, so looked like about 7 foot, maybe a little taller. Meant me no harm. Just wanted to see what was going on. And as soon as I, stumbled backwards and, told it was okay, it popped down and disappeared. Unfortunately, it disappeared towards the lake, so I never saw it again. But, hiking through backcountry with no trail, you're beating through the bush and through creek crossings, and it was kind of nerve-wracking a little bit, but that's okay. Bears have no problem with us. They don't really want to hurt us, so it was pretty good. So it's about 2.5 miles back. You run into Snow Lake. It's a beautiful lake, popular backpacking destination, actually, surrounded by these granite outcroppings that are around the lake. There's actually an island right here. You can't see me. I've seen a photo that a lot of people swim out to. It has great reflection. Mount Talac, if you don't know, it's kind of right over here on the left-hand side up above. But this lake is nice and quiet, very popular. Again, like I said, people like to backpack back in here. And it's just a great lake. I've got a couple pictures of it. We walked around the lake. I was on my volunteer project with Desolation Wilderness volunteers. And I was out cleaning up micro trash and just looking for illegal campfire pits. Unfortunately, when I got back to here, I did find an illegal campfire pit, so we had to destroy that, deconstruct it, and try to hide it. Just so you know, campfires have been illegal in Desolation for over 20 years. But yet every summer we have people that feel entitled to it. So we go out there as volunteers and we clean it up. So hopefully when you get there, it looks like wilderness and not looks like somebody's trashy campground. So that's kind of what our project is. I had actually, at this point, I'd never gone to the backside of the lake and looked over to Maggie's Peak, which is really cool to me because Maggie's Peak is one of my favorite peak climbs in the valley. So Maggie's Peak's up here on top. And so this is looking back towards Lake Tahoe across Snow Lake. Maggie's Peak's up here. There's another route to Lake Azure going over Maggie's Peak through the Bayview trailhead up by Granite Lake, and you come over and then come down this mountain to Lake Azure. That's over on the left here. But Snow Lake, to get down to, that'd be a little harder climb. So Snow Lake's actually easier just to go off trail. You do have a couple of creek crossings. It is some underbrush that you got to find your way through. But you can just stay along this ridge line and cross over when it's appropriate. After leaving Snow Lake, what we did is you have to climb to granite. Unfortunately, I don't have any really good pictures of that. I was too busy climbing the granite this time. But your introduction to Lake Azure, you come up into a little channel, a little creek bed is where we come up at each time at least, is you run into this granite face, this deep cliffs into the lake. Lake Azure is one of my favorite lakes. It's such a pretty water. It's all rock line. You can see there's no shoreline here. It's not really a great place to like put a towel out and relax. There's a couple spots down here in the lower frame that you're not going to see in this photo that people do lay on rocks and stuff. But it's really one of those. It's a deeper water lake, really blue. It takes on the color of the sky a lot. You can see some of these photos just sparkles. Right here in the center, you really can't quite tell. There's actually a rock that's right underneath the water. You can actually swim out and sit on. It's quite cold this year, so we did not go swimming this year. There were people hiking out here. Up there were the dogs in this backcountry in here. So this was a popular area to get to skate back in. You kind of crawl back in there. There was one campsite like right there. I don't know if you can see my pointer or not, but right there, kind of center stage. Beautiful lake. If you're going to go to Lake Azure and you're looking to go there, again, the easier beginning route is to go up over Maggie's Peak or go through the Maggie's Peak saddle past Grand Lake. Kind of like you're going to the Velma Lakes or Dick Lake. And before you, just as you leave Maggie's Peak and you start to head down, like you're going to go into the Velma district, if you pay attention to the left, there's a trailhead that has been, it's user generated. It has been kind of updated. The Forest Service has gone through and cleaned it up so it's easier to follow for people. But there's no signpost, so it's not a trail that they're trying to promote a ton. But it's a great view down. Just so you know, it is about 500 feet down, which means when you turn around and come back up, it's 500 feet back up. So it's a nice healthy climb back to the trailhead into the car. But if you go the Bayview to Maggie's Peak down route, it's about 3 miles, maybe a little over 3 miles for that route. And then you can enjoy the lake for the day. On the way back, there's a couple spots where you'll see the trail kind of goes along this ridge, and you don't walk right here, but you can see, hey, there's a lot of people walk over there. When they walk over there, they can see back down to Snow Lake. So there's what Snow Lake is in comparison in height and depth, and Mount Talax over here. And then on the way across Maggie's Peak as you're heading down, it's actually one of my favorite places to take pictures of Lake Tahoe Basin. It's this big old forest. It's nice and shady in the afternoon. Down here is it's not Crystal Lake, Granite Lake. Sorry, Granite Lake. And of course, Emerald Bay here. We did stop and go swimming at Granite Lake, and the sun was just going down about 5 o'clock. And it was a nice cold swim, but we enjoyed it after a long day's hike. It's quite pretty in there. And then, of course, you got coming down Bayview, you got the perfect look over Emerald Bay. You can see all the yachts. There was actually somebody parked their boat right there. It was on the island. And so we got to take a look at that. So from here, it's, less than a mile to the parking lot. So we just huffed it down, got in the car, and then drove into town for a burger. But that is our trip. I hope that's helpful. 7 minutes of me rambling, hopefully. But that kind of shows you that trip. It is really quite a fun hike to do if you have any off-trail experience or you want to try it out. Snow Lake is really quite a cool place to check out. Lake Azure, Snow Lake to Lake Azure does take a little bit of a scramble. There's no real trail to go between the lakes, so you got to figure out where Lake Azure is up on this ridge, and then you can figure out the best way for yourself. I tend to stay to the north side. I got to cross the creek and go north side of this ridge over here, and then go up kind of near. There's a creek that comes down from Azure, and I kind of follow the edge of that up. That's what I've done both times. It works for me. Doesn't mean that's the perfect route or not. So hope that's helpful. Hope you enjoy the trip. And as always, you can find this report on sierravicmagazine.com, and we hope you'll join us there often for our adventures. Have a great day.